It all started with a voicemail that was never meant to be heard, but now it's all over the internet, and people can't stop talking. An emotional message, supposedly written by Kirk Frost and directed at young Jock, has been leaked online, shaking things up in a way no one expected. The message is reshaping everything. In the recording, Kirk's voice cracks as he pleads, "Bro, please don't let this destroy everything. I need you to hear me out. I was wrong." Known for his hard image and commanding presence on TV, Kirk Frost is now being seen in a rare, emotional light. No one saw it coming, just as fans began to feel sympathy, wondering if Kirk was truly trying to make things right. Everything flipped. Another clip surfaced just hours later, and this time, it wasn't about forgiveness. It was about accountability. The hip-hop and reality TV scene is spiraling into chaos. Was young Jock betrayed by Kirk? Are these leaks a deliberate attempt to smear him? Why hasn't Jock responded? What's going to happen next? One thing's for sure. This might be the most shocking betrayal yet. It may have started as a plea for forgiveness, but believe us, it only goes downhill from here. When that personal voicemail became public, it took the drama between Kirk Frost, young Jock, and the whole Love and Hip Hop cast in a direction no one could have predicted. What was meant to be a private apology ended up fueling one of reality TV's wildest scandals. The voicemail, said to be from Kirk to Jock, was filled with regret and a desperate need to make amends. "Please, my brother, I messed up. Don't let this destroy everything we've built," he says. Fans were stunned. Kirk, usually known for being emotionally guarded and sometimes ruthless, was suddenly baring his soul. His voice trembled. His words stumbled. Even the most jaded viewers couldn't believe it. For a moment, it looked like Kirk was truly remorseful, especially considering his past issues with Jock. It was a side of him the audience hadn't seen before. But then, the story took another wild turn. A new recording hit the internet just hours later, and it painted a very different picture. This time, the call was made to someone else. Someone close to Kirk's inner circle. And in this second clip, the emotion was gone. No sadness, no regret. Instead, Kirk sounded firm, even cold. "I'm done with this. I don't even know what's real anymore." This was his plan from the beginning. Stirring up drama was exactly what he wanted. He's the one responsible, not me. Kirk Frost's voice had returned to its usual calm and composed tone, but now it carried a sharp edge, filled with frustration, anger, and most notably, a sense of betrayal. How could someone go from begging for forgiveness to pointing fingers so quickly? Why would a man who had just seemed desperate for Jock's support now flip the script and accuse him? Fans who were once moved by Kirk's emotional plea were now starting to feel suspicious. Was the entire thing an act? Had Kirk been playing the victim just to gain sympathy from the public? And why had such a private moment been made so public in the first place? The second voicemail completely changed the narrative. The raw apology was quickly replaced by what felt like a heated accusation. Fans, and even those who had long supported him, were left confused, struggling to understand how someone could do such a complete 180. Who was the real Kirk Frost? Was he truly remorseful? Or had this all been a carefully crafted setup? One thing was clear. This wasn't just about making peace anymore. This was the start of a war of words. At the center of it all stood young Jock, Kirk's longtime friend. But how did Jock view the situation? Since the leaks began, he hadn't said a word. Supporters waited, hoping he'd speak up and shed some light on what was really going on. Was he hurt? Angry? Or had he chosen to stay silent for a reason? The silence only added fuel to the fire. Behind the scenes, the Love and Hip Hop team was in crisis mode, scrambling to handle the fallout. Sources close to production claimed that showrunner Mona Scott Young was furious. Even for a show built on drama, this was pushing boundaries they hadn't seen before. Now, Kirk's future on the series was being called into question. If this whole situation had been orchestrated to boost his own image or manipulate the narrative, would he be cut from the show entirely? As more days passed, new information started to leak. There were whispers that someone from Young Jock's circle was behind the release of that second voicemail. It didn't seem like an accident. Why else? Would that recording surface just hours after Kirk's emotional message? Was this all part of a larger strategy to ruin Kirk's reputation, to paint him as even more calculating than people already thought? Rumors were spreading fast around the Love and Hip Hop set. Some cast members claimed Jock had been quietly planning his payback for a while. Others suspected the whole situation had been staged from the start, a publicity stunt designed to pull attention. Fans were left in suspense. People were left asking themselves, was this all just a performance? The line between reality and scripted drama was starting to blur, and no one could say for sure if things had actually spiraled out of control or if it was all just a setup. The pressure on Kirk was mounting fast. Public opinion was split. Some fans still felt he was genuinely remorseful and just trying to fix his mistakes, but others had started to question his motives. The same man who had just asked for forgiveness now seemed more focused on deflecting blame and making excuses. The emotional back and forth was taking its toll, even on the audience. Meanwhile, Kirk's wife Rashida found herself caught right in the middle. She'd stood by him for years, but this time was different. Now, the spotlight was directly on her, dragging her into the drama in a way she likely never expected. The turmoil in Kirk's world had begun spilling into her personal life. Was this the final straw for their relationship? Would she finally walk away, or would she stay loyal and stand by him yet again? Fans were watching her closely, eager to see how she'd respond, but it was becoming increasingly obvious. This situation wasn't anywhere near over. More recordings began to leak, and each one made the whole situation even messier. With every new voicemail, the mystery deepened. Who was actually behind the leaks? Was Kirk really the one being targeted? Or was it a bigger plan to destroy his reputation? Everyone was watching, waiting for the next shock to drop, and the drama was far from done. Would Young Jock eventually speak out? Had Kirk already crossed a line he couldn't come back from? Or could he still salvage what was left of his image? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how would Mona Scott Young, the woman behind the Love and Hip Hop empire, deal with this chaos? No one had answers, but one thing was clear. Kirk's future was now hanging in the balance. Things were quickly unraveling. The fallout between Kirk Frost and Young Jock had escalated far beyond a leaked voicemail. That message had only been the beginning. Now, both men were at the center of an explosive storm, and the media frenzy was intensifying by the hour. What started as a private apology had morphed into a full-blown confrontation, not just emotionally, but possibly even physically. The tension between Kirk and Jock was now unmistakable, and it looked more and more like their friendship wouldn't survive the aftermath. Even the fans who had once backed Kirk were starting to lose trust. When he first apologized, many believed he was sincere. But now, with the shift in tone, from heartfelt regret to cold accusations, people felt like he was twisting the situation to serve his own interests. That sudden change wasn't sitting well with the audience. Those who had been rooting for his redemption were now questioning everything. People began to question whether Kirk Frost was truly the victim in this situation, or just another player in the Love and Hip Hop universe, cleverly spinning the narrative to serve his own purpose. Questions kept pouring in, and with each passing hour, more behind-the-scenes drama surfaced. Another voicemail emerged, supposedly from Kirk, this time sent to someone close to him. But in this clip, Kirk didn't sound like someone trying to fix a broken friendship. Instead, he came across as someone deflecting blame. He was visibly irritated, clearly angry, and deeply resentful. In the message, he said firmly, "I'm not going to sit back and let him destroy me. I know exactly what's happening, and I won't fall for it." This is his mess, not mine. The tone of this second voicemail was unsettling. It felt like Kirk was preparing for battle, not reconciliation. His entire attitude had shifted, and fans could feel the change. The man who once seemed regretful was now focused on damage control, protecting his image, defending his reputation, and stopping Jock or anyone else from dragging him down. Meanwhile, young Jock's silence was deafening. He hadn't commented on the leaked voicemails or the growing storm around him. While everything erupted online and in the media, he remained completely quiet. All fans had to go on were the voicemails and the endless speculation circulating. On social platforms, people were desperate to hear his version of events. Had Kirk truly betrayed him? Or was Jock staying silent on purpose, planning a strategic response? Not speaking didn't necessarily mean he wasn't taking action. Insiders close to Jock claimed that he'd been holding private meetings with his team, working behind the scenes to figure out his next steps. Whispers began to spread that Jock was even considering taking legal action, possibly suing Kirk for defamation. If true, this was no longer just a dramatic storyline on reality TV. This was turning into something serious, with real consequences and high stakes. Tensions among fans were rising. Jock's silence was only adding fuel to the fire. Though he kept things close to the chest, people still wanted to hear directly from him. The longer he stayed quiet, the more theories began to swirl. Some believed Jock was simply waiting for the perfect moment to expose Kirk. Others thought he might be hesitating, unsure of just how much damage telling the truth could cause. Either way, his silence kept the audience guessing. And while the world focused on this escalating feud, the entire Love and Hip Hop cast and crew felt the ripple effects. Everyone involved was feeling the pressure from a situation that had quickly grown bigger than anyone expected. As tension grew between the two men, people began picking sides. Some cast members stood by Kirk, while others threw their support behind young Jock. A few even began speaking out publicly, criticizing Kirk for how he chose to handle everything. To them, it didn't make sense how he went from asking for forgiveness to suddenly blaming everyone else. This kind of drama had the potential to split the entire cast apart. Behind closed doors, Mona Scott-Young was reportedly furious. The producer, known for building her empire on over-the-top reality TV moments, now found herself facing a situation she hadn't anticipated. The fallout from the leaked voicemails had thrown production into complete chaos. Not only was Kirk's role on the show in question, but the credibility of the entire Love and Hip Hop franchise seemed to be hanging by a thread. Fans who had tuned in for the drama now started asking, was any of this even real? Or was it all part of a scripted performance? Could Mona fix the damage done? Or had Kirk's actions caused harm that couldn't be reversed? Sources close to the production claimed that things were spiraling fast. With each new twist in the Kirk Frost and Young Jock saga, the leaked audio, the social media frenzy, the quiet tension, this had gone far beyond a simple feud. It had become one of the biggest reality TV dramas in recent memory. But the biggest question still remains. Is there any chance of reconciliation between the two? Or is this officially the end of their relationship? Now we want to hear from you. Do you think the damage is permanent, or will young Jock eventually forgive Kirk? Is this the breaking point for Love and Hip Hop, or will the show find a way to bounce back? Jump into the comments and let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop on all the latest drama, exclusive, leaks, and behind-the-scenes news. And if you're as intrigued as we are, like this video for more updates on this wild situation. Keep the conversation going. Share this with your friends. Trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next.